Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everybody. Wow, we have another amazing guest. My God, we're going to talk about hey, do spirituality, money really go together and actually it all can work so beautifully to merge spirituality into our business and know that actually it's meant to be. They're meant to be together. So I'm looking forward to talking about this subject with you today. Nicole, great to have you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and share with you guys, as always, a little bit about the person that's here. Again, knowing that this subject, this is a subject for you. I mean, I've been in rooms where I ask, is this an issue for you? For spiritual entrepreneurs, everybody heads goes up. So you've got to listen to this podcast. I'm telling you, you're going to get a breakthrough. So Nicole is a life coach, business mentor, digital marketer, and miracle maker. Nicole Michal coaches both her individual and business clients to be empowered to achieve immense success, whatever that means to them, which I love that. I love that, Nicole. She teaches the tools of metaphysics, meditation, and other spiritual practices, finding that a combination of these is the quickest way to move clients forward into massive empowerment. Yes, absolutely. She is also the co-creator of the Yoga Summit, a 21-day online journey featuring interviews with some of the world's most renowned yoga teachers. Got to check that out. Mm-hmm. Nicole's passions are wellness, business, and spirituality, a trio that she believes can propel everyone to unparalleled success and joy and work and life. And I just feel like you're definitely a sister. We've got so many commonalities with what we're sharing in the world, Nicole. So I'm grateful. It's going to be an amazing interview here today. So Nicole, I mean, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your path. If you want to call it your spiritual path or what have you, but your path and how you got to where you are today, so that maybe you can start to share with people a little bit of how spirituality can merge into your business. I'd love to hear how that happened for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great opening question so that people can kind of know my background and know that in my own life, spirituality and business and money have been intertwined ever since I began on this journey. So my background is actually in finance. I have a master's in business and a master's in public policy. And I started working in corporate finance right out of my MBA. And I worked in the corporate world for maybe 5 years. And then I kind of quickly decided and saw that I didn't think that was going to bring me the fulfillment I was seeking. And so I actually was working for this startup and I lost my job. The startup closed. So I took the opportunity to go become a yoga teacher, not thinking necessarily that I wanted to actually, teach yoga full time, but just as part of my own spiritual development. I had been practicing yoga since I was a very little girl. My mom practiced yoga and meditated every day. So I had a mantra from the age of 5 and had done yoga with her, throughout my life. But I really thought of it more as like exercise or relaxation, the way most people do. I didn't really think of it as a way of life or as a career, but I just felt called. So I did my yoga teacher training and that kind of opened up. I want to say it kind of unlocked something in my aura or in my life path that I started to really see how spirituality and how this different way of living could be integrated with everything that you did. But I love business. I do. So I started my own business doing consulting, and I've been doing that since 2013, since right after my yoga teacher training. And then I started doing coaching, applying some of the principles that I've been using in helping companies grow for individuals who are looking to grow their business. Coaches, artists, spiritual organizations, not-for-profits. I work with lots of different businesses to help them grow, and I use finance and strategy and digital marketing to do that. And also principles, spiritual principles that I believe can be applied to everything in our lives, you know, including our businesses, because everything is connected, right? So I teach my clients principles as well to help them grow. So it's a combination of the spiritual and the practical. And I find that so many individuals who consider themselves spiritual and organizations that work in the spiritual space, whether it's a Buddhist organization or a yoga organization or a Jewish organization or an evangelical organization, I've worked with literally every type of religion. And when it comes to money, almost every organization has this block, like that it's somehow bad, and that if they make money, they're somehow not spiritual. And I really believe it's part of my mission in life to change this idea for people, both as individuals and as organizations, because to me, it couldn't be further of the truth from the truth. So I'm glad we're talking about it today. I'm glad you're like-minded. And I'm sure there are people in your audience who, you know, I say that and it's easy for them to believe, but I'm also sure there's people in the audience who, when I say, you know, as a spiritual person, it's actually your duty to make as much money as you possibly can. There are people in the audience who are cringing and who, you know, feel some level of discomfort, like, that just doesn't sit well with them. And I think we need to have more conversations about that so that we can get that out in the open and work with this mentality that we've developed around the role of money. And since I have this background in finance and I have this background in business and I worked in the corporate world, and I've seen a lot of the bad that money can do, you know, but that's not money's fault, that's people's fault. So if we as spiritual people can do good things with money, then, you know, let's do that and let's talk about it and let's make more of it. So I'm excited for this conversation today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, this is such an important topic because, you know, I, one of the things is I was talking to one of my guests the other day, and you know, we talked about, well, I talked about, but we were talking about this sort of thing in a way, but we were talking about, well, you can namaste your life away. I mean, you know, there's nothing quote unquote wrong with anything, but it's like, okay, you can do that, but there's something inside you that genuinely wants to experience, for our audience, it wants to experience business success. It wants to experience money. It wants to experience not, you know, having to work an extra job or barely getting by or plateauing and feeling like, well, I guess that's, I wish it was more, but it's not going to get there. And when you really get down to it, your part of you is just saying, well, no, I don't care about the money so much. I just want to help people. And well, you know, and then it comes down to, well, you can help more people when you allow yourself to make more money, right? So, because everything they say they want to do to make more money usually requires some more money as part of the equation for most, you know, for most entrepreneurs. So I mean, but I'm fascinated because you're right. It's really going to make someone cringe. And even there's a little part inside me that's a little bit like, oh, when you said like, well, it's our duty to make as much as possible, because it evokes something deep in my sacral chakra of like, yeah, greed, bring it on, money, 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 and it feels that energy feels weird. Now I know that that's not my true nature. It's not who I really am. It's just something there, right? That I can promptly after the interview, I may work upon right afterwards. I'm like, okay, that was interesting. But like, but it's an interesting idea because this idea, I don't know where it started, but there's a lot of books, right? The Napoleon Hills, the Waddles, or whatever, you know, all the different people. I'm going to get somebody's name wrong, but all these different books, The Science of Getting Rich, et cetera, et cetera. So and they talk about this, right? It's your duty to make as much money as possible. And sometimes I've got to admit myself have even questioned that when they say as much as possible. Then I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that crazy? Like, is there ever any end? Because there are people that get caught up in that game, right? Like it's never enough. Now we got to make even more to be enough, right? So I think that it evokes some of that for some people. So let's get into it. So first, let's talk about more about this whole thing of like it's almost like our duty to make more or as much as possible. Tell me more about your perspective on that.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. I know it does feel kind of uncomfortable, right? To say it's our duty as spiritual people to make as much money as we can. So my perspective on that is, if you are a person who's sincerely trying to live a spiritual path and you really want to do good in the world, money is a tool. You can do so much good with money, right? I mean, just because you make as much money as you possibly can, you might then choose to give it all away. That doesn't mean you have to hold it forever, right? You can distribute it as you see fit. You can hold as much as you want. You can tithe as much as you want. You can leave some for generations to come in your family, or not. You can donate it all to institutions and philanthropies. It's up to you. You can put it into your own business. If you sincerely believe in yourself and your message and your business, put all that money into your business so that it can reach more people, right? So you decide what to do with the money. The money is a tool. And to me, when we say that it's our duty to make as much money as we can, what that means is that we really trust ourselves. We trust ourselves to do good things with the money we're going to earn. And why would you trust anyone else more than you trust yourself? You trust other people to make a lot of money? Are you sure they're going to do good things with it? You know, you trust other organizations to have a lot of money. You trust other governments to have a lot of money, right? Why would you trust others to distribute the money more justly than you trust yourself? And of course, you can get caught up in any game or any mindset. You can get caught up in the game of needing more to feel secure. You can also try to put numbers that, you know, oh, when I make X amount of money, I'll be okay. But that's not what I mean. I don't mean you're getting the money for your security or solely for your own gain. Although if you want to, you know, buy things and live comfortably, that's totally fine too. I think we need to take away the guilt and shame associated with some element of material living in the spiritual world, because we need to live in this physical world. So it's okay to have physical material things, but that's kind of an aside. We can talk about it. But you know, it's about trusting ourselves. It's about knowing that we can do good things with money. And it's about believing in ourselves and in the infinite abundance of the universe to know that us making more money doesn't mean someone else is making less money. Money is an infinite resource. And it's this mentality of it being finite that I think gets us all into trouble. So you making more money doesn't mean someone else is making less. I think we intuitively kind of think that way because of the system we're brought up in, with money being finite. But it's not. Money comes from the source of the whole universe. And like everything else, it's in abundance. So that doesn't mean that we're taking away from someone else just because we earn a lot. Think of all the, you know, if you can make a lot of money and you can hire people in your business, that means you get to have employees part of a spiritual business. Wouldn't you rather have lots of employees in your spiritual business rather lots of employees in a non-spiritual business, right? So if we start to broaden our mind of all the possibility that money gives us, then I think we can start to get comfortable with the idea of, yeah, I do trust myself to make a lot of money. And the truth is, a lot of us don't trust ourselves, not really. So that's why us having a lot of money becomes uncomfortable, because money is a responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a sense of responsibility for sure. I mean, and I love the trust part, because that's the real thing. Like, do I trust myself? Would they have this experience of having responsibility for this money, you know? And am I going to be a wise steward of my energy? Really is what it comes down to. Am I going to be a wise steward of my energy? And am I going to utilize the sense of my energy and my power wisely? Or am I going to use it in ways that I see in the world that I don't like, you know? So I use money as an ego inflator. Am I going to use money to destroy somebody else in some way, you know, or to, you know, trick people with slick marketing, or I don't know, like there's so many different things, but this idea that, you know, that we're going to use it for, you know, like we could potentially even use it for ill, you know, like even the potential. So better not go there. Don't trust that. Not going to touch the money. Maybe enough to get by, you know, maybe we could do that. Maybe.
Just get by. So many people, I just want to get by. Like, why?
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you about, because it's something, again, I've even said, but I think it's worth some examination and just discussion,
Yeah.
which I promised you coming on this show we would do. So is like, I mean, we say, well, money, it comes from source, there's no limit, but literally there's only, so much money that's supposedly in circulation at one time. Of course, it's all made up, but because it's all on computers now. It's not even, it's truly not even real now. It's just, that's a whole nother discussion, like you would say. But I mean, this idea that, well, it's unlimited, there's no end to it, and all that. And I mean, the part that absolutely is true is that everything comes from source. So money comes from source too. I mean, and if people think like it's any less well for you to receive money for doing your spiritual work on the world or whatever, whatever your spiritual cause is, it's less than doctors making money or plumbers or anybody else, and it's too sacred, is a bunch of nonsense. You're saying they're less sacred than you. That's an ego job, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I really question, just in terms of like exploring the really deeper truth, this concept that there's unlimited money, there's no limit to what's possible. And now I have my own understanding of why that's true, but I'm wondering to hear your take on that. Like, how do you really see that when you look into it more deeply? How is that really true? And then we'll get into more practical things. But I wanted to just pause here and get into this. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, well, you said it yourself, Daniel. It's all on computers. It's all completely made up. Our economy is completely made up. I mean, look at just what happened just now with COVID. Overnight, they came up with enough money to give billions of dollars away in stimulus packages, to give each individual household $1,200 per person, right? To give all these unemployment benefits, which were definitely needed. But if you had asked them 2 months earlier, do you have money to do something like this? The answer would have been no. They didn't have the money, right? But then all of a sudden they had the money. So I mean, what does it even mean, right? It's an energy. It's at this level in which our economy is, with the trillions of dollars that's circulating. To me, I mean, that's an unlimited amount. And the economy is also always growing because the population is always growing. So at a minimum, you have about 2 to 3% as a globe of expansion in people, which means you also have expansion of money. And money isn't like oil. Oil is actually a finite resource, right? It has to be physically regenerated. Money doesn't have to be regenerated in the same way. Our economy, from my study in economics, I know the economy is always growing between 1% and 3%. Of course, there are years when it contracts, but on the whole, we're always above 0% growth. So that means it is always expanding, just like the universe.
True. It's absolutely true. It's proven.
Just like the universe is always expanding, money is also expanding. And so I think so many of our problems come because we live in this zero-sum game universe, which is how we've set things up in Western civilization, that one person's gain is another person's loss. But actually, if you study the basic principles of economics, that the whole reason trade is beneficial is because both parties gain. Trade is beneficial because both parties benefit. It's not that one is better off and one is worse off from the trade, then no one would trade. So when you think about yourself as a spiritual practitioner, you can think of yourself as a tradesman. I am trading you my spiritual service, my intellectual capital, my energy work, my teachings, whatever you have to offer, and they're trading you back with money. Money is a trade. Both parties leave better off. If you didn't think you were leaving better off, you wouldn't have paid paid the money to receive the services, right? So as a spiritual person, it's like if someone comes to us and wants to pay us and we say, oh, no, I couldn't take that. You're actually in negation to the laws of the universe that say this would make both of you better off. So I see no reason why, as spiritual people, we would take this resource, which is infinite. It's always growing, at least 1% to 3% a year, because the population is growing and the economy is a product of the population, and the universe is always growing, and our knowledge is always growing. So why would we not trade what we have for money in exchange? It's a simple trade. It makes both parties better off. Why would we say no to that?
Right. And from that principle, it's like more trades the better. If it's better,
Yeah,
On
no, that's
average, it
so
always
true.
benefits everybody. Why wouldn't we do more and more trades? You know, as many as possible, like you said, more
Yeah,
or less.
why would you not have as many clients as possible? Why would you not create a business model that allows you to expand infinitely? Because
Mhm.
that means you can make infinitely more people better off. Why would you create a business model where you can only serve 2 people? Create a business model where you can serve 2,000 or 2 million. That's more people will be better off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's valid. I mean, I do believe that there's room for a lot of different things. You know, I mean, I do think there's somebody that, yeah, on their spiritual path, maybe they need to be in the mountains serving people for free or whatever. But I mean, not like if you're listening to this podcast, that almost 1,000% is not going to apply to your path. So I think it's a spiritual path for each person. I think the thing that we're avoiding is the discomfort we feel in trusting ourselves with money and our power and our energy and doing the work we've come here to do. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're really addressing here. So I'm just, I'm just looking at, honestly, I am looking, we always have questions we could ask people. So far, I'm like, okay, none of these questions make sense to ask you on this discussion so far.
Well,
So we're just going to scrap
we
those
can keep
questions for
going with
now. So
our
I'm just like, yeah, we're just flowing with it right here. But I think it's fascinating. There are people, but it's a lesser percentage of people that actually know something about, in a the way that you do through having your background, everything, know about money, know more about it from that level rather than just only a spiritual perspective, which I think is a real strength that you bring into things because you have that grounding too in business in a way that a lot of light workers or spiritual sort of people may not have. So I think that's a real benefit. Now, so how do you help people when they come to you and they're like, because I mean, one of the biggest things to me is really, are people claiming the value of who they are? Are they really owning the value? I mean, what I've learned is the higher that, like for me, for a service I offer, right? Especially if it's personalized, right? One to one. Uh, on average, I mean, the more I charge for it, the more it has to be more about, for me personally, okay? I'm not saying it's true for everybody. The more it has to be around, I'm actually valuing myself and who I am and who I am more than anything. Like just who I am, not even what I do necessarily. I mean, it's part of it, but it's like, it's the smaller part. It's like, do I value myself enough to charge whatever that next level is that I might be thinking about charging, right? So it's like, I value myself that much? And if I do, of course, by the mirror of the universe, it just shows up that way. Like people are like, and I've seen this when I've increased my prices. If I'm in alignment, what happens is the client, they say, oh my God, you're worth every penny of that amount I'm paying. You know, you really are worth all that money. And it's because, and you know what it is not, it all starts with intention. I feel, for me anyway, I always notice it reflects exactly my consciousness. So my consciousness says it's worth it, whatever it is, if it were a product, right? Or whatever it is, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth that and so much more. It gets reflected. And that's another reason why I think money is unlimited, because that I believe that too, is because there's no cap on you valuing yourself, in my opinion. So let's talk about that. What do you see for like I mean, I could talk about my stories, but I'm interviewing you today. So what do you see for your clients that come in that are like, man, I don't know if I could do this in my business, or they don't know if they're doing is worthwhile enough or valuable enough, or am I good enough? What are some of the things where people are stumbling blocks for the spiritual entrepreneurs you see?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think your story and your example is such a good one because you really get to the heart of what it is, which is about self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said,
Yeah.
valuing ourselves, believing we are worthy of charging for our services, believing that our work is of high value. And if it's of high value, that means that someone is willing to pay for it, and not only pay for it, but happily pay for it. I have a belief that, I think I heard this from another coach. She said, people love to pay me. And that for me, I think that was Amanda Francis who said that, who's one of the very few people who I follow about money, because I don't find many coaches who merge money and spirituality the way that I believe. But she said, people love to pay me. And I think that belief that people love to pay you, not just that they're paying you begrudgingly or paying you because they have to, but like you said, people who say you are worth every penny, who come back again and again. They work with you and they love it, and they come back. And if your prices have gone up, they're happy to pay the higher prices because you value yourself. You know what you offer is of high value, and you have no problem charging for it. And like you said, when you're in alignment, that comes easily. So one of the first things I have to do with clients is actually work on their own sense of self-worth, their own sense of value, because a lot of people deep down in the unconscious don't really believe in themselves, or they don't really believe in their product. And if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your product, how can you ask someone else to believe in it? How can you ask someone else to pay you for it? You know, so usually what I find is that it's the energy first. We don't have to change the price. You know, we can't change the price if you don't really believe in it. We can't raise your prices to, you know, $300 an hour if you barely believe that you are worthy of $50 an hour. So I don't work first on changing the prices. We get there. All my clients raise their prices eventually. But first we work with where you're at. How much do you really feel you're comfortable charging to energetically get behind it so that you can gradually raise your prices? And sometimes having a coach or someone to reflect back to you all the value that you're adding is important, because that helps you to say, oh yeah, this did really change lives. You know, oh, this really did make an impact. You know, like, yeah, okay, I see that this is changing people's lives. I'm more comfortable charging for it now.
Right, or charging more, right? Or taking
Or
it to
charging
the
more,
next
right?
level.
Charging for a period. Some people don't want to charge for their services at all. If I hear another person come to me and say, oh, I just need one more training and then I'll be ready to get paid. Holy
Yeah.
moly, how many freaking trainings do we need before we're ready to actually charge for ourselves? And that's an excuse. That is a perfect example of one of the lies the ego is telling you, that you aren't ready, that you don't have the value. You can't yet charge for it. And people say, oh, I'm just doing one more training, one more certification. And they don't, because they're afraid to charge. That's the, you know, that's the whole thing. They're just afraid to actually say, you know, this is my price.
Yeah, they're avoiding it, right? They're avoiding that uncomfortableness. And that is one of the things, like one of my friends said this way back when I was getting started. She was already established, and she said that, I wasn't even individually to me. She said it to, on an interview that I was interviewing her, or she said it on one of her webinars. I just remember her saying, she said, for her, one of the keys, okay, there's always like, this is it. This is the big thing. Everybody's got the one thing, and there's 1,000 more things, right? Well, like the two things she says, are you willing to feel uncomfortable? Because it's going to happen. You're going to feel uncomfortable at times. You got to be willing to feel really uncomfortable sometimes. You got to be willing to, at least, right? And then, are you willing to deal with details? You know, there are details to deal with that come up. I mean, you know, there's ways of creating things so it's more simplified and it's not going to drive you as nuts, right? Hopefully, right? It'll hopefully go smooth. But you got to be willing to get into certain details and structures. And sometimes, again, spiritual people are like, yeah, whatever, it's all flowing, it's happening. And we don't put the structures in place, get things so they will flow well, right? So the details. So, I mean, I think those are two extraordinary, just 2 points, like just to remember. Okay, are you willing to feel uncomfortable? Are you willing to take care of details? Okay, great. Then you can, you know, that's going to help you to make a lot of money. You know, that will help you make a lot of money. So people think it's just going to be always like the wind, like, whoa, it's just so easy all the time. I haven't seen that with people that I work with. It's not always that way. And even for the miracle makers like you, like usually their clients, it isn't always that way, right? Or they struggled before they got to you, then it became really easy, right? So they, at some point, they went through those phases. And what I think that, you know, you're doing for people to help them as a miracle maker is to give them the structures and give them this even specific support and strategies, and then getting their energy aligned behind what really wants to happen, so that it can flow easily, and that way the sense of spiritual flow and their business and their life can all flow together. I mean, that's what I'm kind of intuitively reading what you do as well. But like, is that about right? Or
Yeah, I would say so. I like to combine the spiritual and the practical. I think that we need that balance. And I think that if we're too much to one side, then like you said, we don't have the structures and the processes in place to really grow our businesses. And then it's going to become chaotic. And of course we learn by trial and error, right? So I've had times of chaos in my business as well. And I realize, oh, something's out of alignment. I don't have a process, or I don't have the right person working with me or working for me, right? So those are practical things we have to do. I mean, practically we have to run a business, right? That means having a bank for here, or some sort of payment system. And like your mentor said about the details, paying attention to the details. Is it connected? Are people able to pay? Is my website working? Can people make payments? Making it easy for people to pay us, right? Those are details, those are processes. And then of course there's also the energetics. Do I believe people are going to pay me? Am I open to that? Am I open to receiving? Am I open to being paid? And that's another piece of it, right? And also something you said made me think of this. Also with clients, what I help them do is also create language that more accurately reflects what they really feel and believe about money. So actually just yesterday I was doing this with a client. They're raising their rates, and they're an organization, and they said, well, the next time someone comes and asks them to do something for free, we're working on not doing things for free anymore unless there's certain policies around that, right? How many of us just do things for free all the time and don't have a policy of when it's appropriate and with whom it's appropriate to work for free? It's not that I don't believe in doing things for free, but it should be structured when you do something for free. There should be criteria around who do you do things for free for. So we're creating those processes and procedures so they can put them up on the website so that it's very clear. And she immediately said, well, I'm going to say to the next person, I'm so sorry, I can't. And I said, no, why you're so sorry? You're not so sorry. You believe in these policies. You're not sorry that you have policies. You want these policies. You want to grow your organization. You want to raise your rates. You want these. So don't apologize for it. And she was like, you're right. I'm really not sorry. And how many times do we apologize around money, or, apologize when we raise our rates or say things that we don't really mean? And I think if we really want to be in alignment, that means our thoughts, our words, our actions all have to align. So when I raise my rates, I'm never sorry that I raise my rates. I feel great about raising my rates. And I think my clients feel great about it too, because they're happy to pay for the service. And that's why it's okay to have multiple price tiers. Not everyone's going to be able to work one-on-one, right? Some people can buy a course. Some people can do a group coaching program. It's okay to, as spiritual entrepreneurs, for us to offer different services at different price points. You could have things all the way from $27 to $2,000 to $20,000, right? Each thing will meet a certain person where they're at. But I wouldn't be sorry I offer something for $27 or sorry I offer something for $2,000. Both are valuable and in their place. So I think we also want to really take a look at our language and our price points and how do we feel about what we're offering, and stop apologizing for taking money. It's part of the trade. It actually leaves both people better off.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, hallelujah. Absolutely. So with all that being said, I mean, what are a lot of people might say, well, I've been trying and I am valuing myself. Let's say somebody's think they've gotten past that even, I'm kind of past that. I'm already kicking in the gear. I'm making some money. I'm valuing myself, but they feel like they're manifesting this, because this was something we wanted to, I was interested in talking to you about. I use all these techniques they talk about: sales, marketing techniques, manifestation techniques, but nothing's working. I'm not getting to my next level. I'm stuck at 100K, or I'm stuck at 20K or 30K or whatever, wherever they are, and could be a million even or millions, but wherever they are, they're like, it's stuck, none of it's working. What do you have to say to them? And they say, well, all these techniques, all these manifestation techniques or marketing techniques or sales techniques, nothing's working for me. What are some of the common things you see, why that things aren't working for people? Because I know that's something you're really passionate about, helping people with.
Yeah. So I believe that if we say we believe something in our spiritually or in our mind, the only way to know if that's true, it's actually very scientific, is it presenting itself in your life? How else? You can't say I believe in myself, and then you're manifesting a life that where it's being reflected back to you that you don't believe in yourself, right? So the proof is always in what's in your reality. And that requires that we honestly look at our reality and say, okay, where is something in my reality reflecting back to me that something in my beliefs believes this, right? And maybe we're still manifesting from an old belief. It might be left over. Sometimes it takes the world a little time to rearrange. It doesn't happen overnight, right? So sometimes our reality is in the process of catching up. And you might take an inventory of your life and say, I really believe I've switched that belief and that's old and my life is just rearranging. And so I'm fully confident that at the right time, these things will rearrange and this won't be an issue. I won't be stuck. Right. And if you believe that, you would never even use the word stuck. You wouldn't even be in your mind thinking of yourself as stuck at $100,000 or stuck at $400,000 or stuck at $4 million. You would say, the universe is just rearranging, catching up to the next level I'm going to, and it's coming. I don't know when it's coming. It's coming next month. It's coming in 6 months. It's coming in 2 years, but it's coming. I know that I'll be in my next income bracket soon.
Right.
So, but if you do feel like you're genuinely stuck, then I suggest to people they take a truthful and honest inventory of what's happening in their life. What are they satisfied with and what are they not satisfied with? And then look at where you're not satisfied and see what that is reflecting back to you about your own beliefs. Because our life only reflects what we believe. And that's not magic. That's because based on what we believe, we make certain choices. And our life is a product of our choices. So some choice that we made created the life that we have today. And the choice was rooted in a belief. So if there's something in your life that you don't like, go look at your beliefs and do it in an honest way. And that's scary. There's a little bit of fear, of course, when we look at ourselves truthfully, but that's also one of the most basic principles of self-study that every spiritual tradition has, which is to really know yourself and to look at your thoughts and to ask yourself, where are my beliefs or where are my thoughts creating this?
Right, absolutely. I mean, that's where it is. It's been said many times that and I know you believe in this, and it's that the inner work is far more important ultimately than any outer systems we can create, because everything, you could take the greatest system ever, I believe, like sometimes you can take these great marketing systems, but if you're already going in skeptical and you don't have belief in yourself, you can confound the greatest marketing system ever. Your energy will make it happen. I mean it really well. So, you got to get your energy on board. And if there's belief systems that are there that are keeping you from having more success with whatever you really want to have success with. Sometimes we just don't want to do it in a certain way, and maybe that's true for us. We want to focus somewhere else. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're just avoiding something. It's something you have to discern. You have to look into, right? But whatever it is that what I love that you're saying is, what's not working with the manifestation technique or the marketing or the sales techniques is you're not believing in yourself. You're not in that higher level of valuing yourself and esteem, and that's really the root cause. And that's really it. And that's one of the things I think that is kind of maybe not as focused upon in all the techniques out there, right? Law of attraction and just just do a marketing funnel, or, you know, we got people that are doing really well with this, 100K a month, or, you know, and it's so easy and everybody gets success, which I usually find that those people are usually the liars, you know, say everybody's getting the success at this level. But yeah, no, I mean, you have to do the inner work. And I think that's a great reminder for everybody, is to remember it really is that simple. And I've experienced it again and again, you know, on my journey. The minute if I try to get off of that, I'm like, oh, I'll just do this little, it's almost like a trick you're going to try to bypass your own inner work. Like, oh, let's try this trick here. We'll just do this thing. That'll make the greater impact and more money. Oops, didn't work out so well. Guess got to do the inner work. And always your inner work, you got to face it sooner or later. Even if your trick works momentarily, you got to come back to the inner work. It's just fascinating, Nicole, how it happens for us. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, that's totally true. I just want to kind of emphasize that point you made, that you could hire the best marketing agency in the world. You could create the most finely tuned, on target funnel. But if you don't really believe in it, and if you don't believe in yourself, then you will still not get any clients, or the clients who come to you will be misaligned with what you're really trying to teach. It doesn't matter how perfect your funnel, how amazing the marketing agency, or let's say you don't like doing the marketing. So you think, oh, I'm just going to outsource it, right? I'll just pay someone else to do my marketing. But if you still don't really believe in your product, it's not going to make a difference. If you still don't really believe in yourself, you're still not going to get the results. So there is nothing that you can do in place of energetically fully getting behind yourself, your product, your service, believing so deeply in what you have to offer, because there's no funnel in the world that will compensate if you don't really believe in it, and if you don't really want it. Sometimes we say we want success, but we don't. Right. We're not ready. We're afraid. We're ambivalent about making money. How can we say we want to be successful, but then you have this cringe when someone tells you, okay, so to be successful, we're going to charge for your services, or we're going to charge X amount, or, you know, let's set a target of $100,000. And you think, oh no, that's way too much. I had one client come to me once. She didn't actually become a client, probably because of this. She wanted to charge like $50 an hour. And I was like, well, how are you ever going to scale that business? I mean, let's say you worked every day, full 7 days on $50 an hour. Could you actually live off of that? Mm-hmm. And the answer was no. So it was like, well, why would I set you up to have a not self-sustaining business? We need to charge something that's actually going to support you. And that was so scary for her. The idea of charging $100 an hour for her services so that she could actually be self-supporting. She said, I don't think this is for me. I said, okay. Yeah. You know, and if someone worked with me, I could get them to that point. I have clients who right. In the beginning, they say they want to charge 50, and by the end they're charging 500. Right. And we get there. It's not like overnight, you know, but you have to want to be willing to see things differently. We have to want to be right. willing, like you said, to get uncomfortable, and also be willing to kind of change our paradigm and our minds around money. You have to want to see money as something good, not something bad. And some people are really attached to the idea that money has to be bad. And if you're attached to the idea that money has to be bad, it is no surprise you're living without enough money.
Right, exactly. No surprise at all. Exactly. So yeah, and we could really keep going deeper with this. But with the time we have, we're not going to be able to go even deeper with it. I'm like, oh my God, and that brings up this topic. We could go into it. Like, it's like having a relationship with a man or woman, but like where, you know, I gotta have them, but I hate them, and like, you know, like it's like, yeah. So I mean, it's just fascinating. It's all so fascinating. So anyway, I know you have as we're starting to wrap up, I know you had something you wanted to share with everybody, some really amazing things actually. So can you share with people what you wanted to offer? I know that you're wanted to help some of our listeners, if they did, you know, if they're willing to make more money, yeah. They could contact you, right? So tell them about that. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I offer free 30-minute consults. So you can email me, Nicole@NicoleMichal.com, to set up that, or you can even text me. I'll give you my phone number, 847-922 3785. You can email or text me and send me your name and tell me that you heard me on the podcast and that you want to set up a free 30-minute consult. And we will talk about money and spirituality in your business. And I'm happy to do that for free, no strings attached. If you want to continue working together, I'm available for that. And if you just want to chat for 30 minutes, I love talking to people and meeting people. And in 30 minutes, I'll, give you as much spiritual money alignment as I can. And if you go to my website, www.nicolemichal.com, that's NicoleMichal.com, you can download my guide to manifestation. And that is a great way to get started with what I believe will move you closer to really manifesting what you want. And I don't make you write anything down like 1,000 times. I've seen those manifestation guides. I don't believe that writing out your desires 1,000 times or 3,000 times or 5,000 times is going to make a difference, because if you're writing something you don't believe in, it still won't come true. So this is about inner work, really, really getting behind what we say we want. And that is what I help my clients to do.
Yeah. I mean, I love the way you said that. I've done that before. Maybe you have tried that before.
Yeah, that's why I know someone said, write this down 5,000 times. And I was like, I could energetically feel that I didn't believe what I was writing, and it didn't come true.
Eventually you'll get it in there. That subconscious is pound. It's like, I remember one time when I was looking, this is over 10 years ago, I wanted to get to 10,000 a month. I was like, writing that down. I'm making this $10,000 or more per month. I do it every day for like over a year. Every day I'd write it down like 20, 30, 40, 50 times a day. I don't know how many times. I just kept writing it down. Then one day I'm like, well, it doesn't seem to be working out too well. I think I'll let go of it. Maybe it'll happen then. Sure enough, not that long after that, I started making that kind of money. It's like, because I mean, at some level, I think like sometimes doing that, like it could work for somebody, but like if it's like when you keep doing it, it's like some part of you says every time you write it down, you're like, yeah, I don't believe this. You're like almost affirming, yeah, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. Like every time you write it down. That's pretty hilarious. You're absolutely right. We got to do the deeper work. So reach out to Nicole. Yeah, reach out to Nicole for this. And you've got everything. We'll put it in the show notes. And her cell again, 847-922-3785 for a free 30-minute amazing consult. Or you can email her at Nicole@NicoleMichal.com, and she spelled all that good for you. And then you can get the Miracle Manifestation Guide at www.NicoleMichal.com. And so anyway, Nicole, before we wrap up, I always like to do a little tuning in with my guests. So could I tune into your energy just a little bit and for a minute or two, just, okay, great. Just love to see people, and if you give me permission. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what's going on. What I seem to be guided to share is around your power in terms of your intuitive abilities. So the guidance seems to be telling me that you have even stronger gifts there than maybe you've already utilized, that there's a stronger gift there. And so that's the first thing they're pointing to. So because you have one of those abilities to just really deeply know things. So you just deeply understand intimately what's needed. So that's why you're so good at what you do. You're just intimately like, okay, I've got the whole plan. Like it comes to you guys. You still have to do the belief work, right? You get the download of like what the plan is, including the inner work probably they need to do. But you get that, and then without getting into it in this moment, but like there's something about being able to utilize your magic and your ability to manifest and work with energies at even a deeper level that seems to be calling in this reading right now, that they're asking to come in more. I don't know if this sounds weird to you, but there is a sense of some like ET sort of energy coming through that you're connected with. So again, it just means, that's why you are so magical, that you're connected with this energy. So just share it that way for now. And then, but yeah, you just, you just know how to line things up for ease and flow in that intuitive center. It's a natural gift. And then, yeah, the only thing like sometimes it might kind of get in the way of that is if you try to, at times, if you try to run around it, you try to run faster, you try to run ahead of what, the simple path is, you try to run around and try to chase after it faster, then it runs away from you. So, I mean, it's always true of people, but I see an energy pattern in there that sometimes wants to do that. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to do that. So, so I just noticed that. But, there's so many more things I could share, but I like to share a few things with my guests to just share the good news. But the last thing I do want to share is that throat chakra. You have it feels like there's just more that wants to be shared. There's even a fiercer kind of stand to take for your tribe, so to speak. So taking that stand for that tribe, and that they're just showing me like legions of angels are there to support you and your tribe. And there's a sense of urgency too, like we've got to go, let's go now, we need to even take it to the next level now. So it's kind of interesting. It's part of it is like stay centered, don't try to hurry it in, and there's like come on, let's go right now. So of course it all goes together, that, Nicole. But but yeah, so those are some of the things I'm seeing, and that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you. Wow, that was very powerful and completely spot on. And I felt you actually enter my energy field. And that's also crazy. You mentioned magic. We didn't talk about it here, but I am a magician of sorts and studied in the mystery school, and I'm an initiate and an adept in that school. So that's interesting that you brought that up. More on that in a different podcast episode.
Right, exactly. Oh, that's awesome, Nicole. And then I just want to share with people, if they want to check out me at yoursacredpurpose.com, you can get an opportunity for a 30-minute energy scan consultation. There is an application there to fill out. And then I tune in to see who I meet with or who I might not meet with, just depending on what my guidance is. And then there is a free gift there for everyone. Meditate and make money. It's the way to go. Get those chakras open, get the downloads, and get it tuned. It makes it easier. It makes it magical. So you can get your meditate and make money meditation, and it does work. It's proven to work. As long as you listen, you just keep listening every day. Just get your downloads and get the frequency. So you can get that at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right. So any last words, Nicole, before we wrap up?
I just want people, if this episode was at all triggering for you, then I would say don't run from that. Go deeper into it, see what's underneath it, journal about what came up for you, journal about what parts made you uncomfortable, listen to it again so you can pinpoint the triggers. I remember one of the coaches who I follow, when I first listened to her, and again, I don't follow many, but I got uncomfortable. It was almost like a discomfort with the amount of power and money that she had. And it was because I, at that point, still did not yet feel worthy of having that kind of money or having that kind of influence or having that kind of power. And so that was a signal to me not to run away, but to kind of keep listening and to go deeper and to do the work to become comfortable with money. Because my true desire for you is that you have as much money as you desire. If you don't desire to make $2 million, that's fine. But I want you to have what you do desire to have. And God wants that for you too. God wants you to have enough so that you don't have to worry and you don't have to struggle. Struggle is not part of God's plan for us. And if you're struggling around money, then that means that God wants you to change that. And probably by listening to this, you may already be somewhat on your way to identifying what's in the way.
Yeah, yes, and so it is. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I could do hundreds of shows on this topic. This is a big topic and really so deeply needed. So I'm so grateful that you've come on today, Nicole. And thank you so much. And thank you for everyone listening. And as I always say, keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. You're listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast.
Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.